That seafood dieting just a working for me. Why? I see food, I eating it.
I see food, I eating it.
It can be fish, it can be meat. Once I see it,
I love it, man.
I see food, I eating it. I see food, I eating it. 6 months now I on a seafood diet. And up to now I still ain't lose weight as yet.
How could this sound not make it to the quarters? Can you believe that?
Okay, boy.
You know me, man. I say it as I see it. That's a big sound. Orange, New Jersey, Lawton.
My wife begs when it dark I do eat. If I ain't seeing it, I ain't eating it. But I just dive in it before the day break. I eating everything, I see my belly can't take. Doctor, I see food, I eating it. I see food, I eating it. It can be fish, it can be meat. Once I see it, I eating it. I see food, I eating it. I see food, I eating it. 6 months now I on a seafood diet. And up to now I still ain't lose weight as yet, doctor. Seafood, they feel hungry. They don't care if their belly bursts. Seafood diet does get people from bad to worse. Look how slim young boy looking now. Can you believe he was once a cow? So doctor, I afraid to do surgery to end up like Reggie. So please explain seafood to me.
Please, doctor.
I see food, I eating it. I see food, I eating it. It can be fish, it can be meat. Once I see it, I eating it. I see food, I eating it. I see food, I eating it. 6 months now I on a seafood diet. And up to now I still ain't lose weight as yet, doctor.
I see food, I eating it. Hello, talk to me here. Good afternoon. Hello. This is Q95. Talk to me. I see food, I eating it. Vigilante. This one he called hostage.
State Department of America. I hope you got my classified letter. I made an application for whistleblower protection. Down here in the Caribbean, anti-American politicians crooked lawyers and
I did tell you we'll be talking to the Fortune Hotel for a few minutes. Good afternoon to you. How are you?
Good afternoon, Matt. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm great.
Having a great Thursday afternoon?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Yourself?
Good. How was Fort Young last evening on Wine Wednesdays?
It was great, though. I was very happy with the public's appearance last night. I know some people got a bit inebriated on wine.
Uh-huh.
You know, we had a 2-for-1 Beringer wine, so you would have paid $15 and I would get you two glasses of wine. But it's home day, so it's basically the beginning of the start of the weekend, so people enjoy that.
All right. Before we go to Friday, I know there's something always happening on a Friday at Fort Young. Can you tell me anything about your menu today?
Yes, Matt. Let me read out what's on our buffet menu today. It's nicely displayed. So we have 2 options of salad, the tossed mixed greens and potato salad today. Our main course, lime rosemary chicken, grilled fish in tomatoes and olive, and that's all served with steamed vegetables, tossed roots, provision pie, and carrot rice. So you have all of these only EC $40. There's no way you could go get that ambience, the service, and have a buffet lunch available to you for only EC $40.
You said 40 EC dollars, right?
40 EC
At
dollars
Fortune Hotel.
at Fortune Hotel, and that is inclusive of taxes. So it's 40 EC flat.
40 can get you a nice lunch there in that ambience. You can't ask for anything more.
You can't miss that, man.
You can't ask for anything more there. Well, what's going down on Friday?
Friday, Matt, you know, we have our usual cocktails and conversations, so I'm not going to touch on that too much, but I'm going to jump over to next week, cocktails and conversations.
Okay.
We're in this one. It's a pre-carnival warm-up next week Friday, that is January the 27th at Cocktails and Conversations. So we're going to have your favorite Calypsonians in the house as well as a DJ. And you would have to pay EC $10 for entry. Of course, we have to pay the Calypsonians and the DJs who will be playing. And that's happening next week Friday. It's a pre-carnival warm-up because you know the Saturday is the opening of Carnival City. So you may as well start the pre-carnival warm-up at the Fortune Hotel next week Friday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Looking forward to next Friday, but don't forget tomorrow you can also come in and just, have some conversations tomorrow. Next week is the big one.
Yes.
But tomorrow you can always stop in.
Yes, of course, tomorrow come get your food. I know my favorite ladies from Nassif are always there, and we appreciate them so much. I can't remember their name, but they're 3 beautiful young ladies from Nassif, J.E. Nassif, who every Friday at 5:30 they walk over to the Fortune Hotel for food. And if they're listening, just letting you know that Nyan appreciates you guys very much.
Nyan will be talking to you tomorrow.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Of course, go in and have some lunch at Fort Young today. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's Carnival. It's Calypso.
Say again. Yes, I. Hey, everybody, it's me, Ricky Mouse. I'm coming. Ladio. Libao. All right. Watch it. From my misery, I cannot even open my own mouth. Since the cartoon characters take over my house,
The news is coming up,
and they make the headquarters in my cabinet.
followed by
I never see
Talk on the Block.
yet. They divided in groups, fighting for power. They uniting and crooking one another. What is one group they don't want to see? They all agree is the enemy. Is the group that they're talking caution like democracy. Mickey Mouse, control the house.
Hi, Verena down there in Brooklyn.
In this cabinet, put their ass out, put their mouth down. No damn democracy allowed. I suppose I go up and shabbat.
The news is coming up, followed by Talk on the Block. The biggest afternoon show on radio.
They're making laws just for others. They want to send back Simpson to jail for life. SpongeBob taking good care of the Joker wife. Flash up using the radio station ban. Mickey Mouse said to call him Superman. Penguin is very sick but she acting well. But she want all cartoon characters to go to hell. So we stay by now in my cabinet, cruising lying and sending all bad threats. They have a grudge against honesty, truth and unity. Well, Mickey Mouse control the house. The Joker cannot control his mouth. Penguin say when they met in this cabinet, put their ass out, put their mouth down. No damn democracy allowed. I suppose I pull up and shove out.
Welcome to Q95's Lunchtime News Update for today, Thursday, January 19th, 2017. In local news, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says he has decided to visit a different village in the country once a month during the year 2017. Speaking during a visit to the Bagatelle community on Wednesday, Skerrit said holding an office day will minimize the amount of individuals who come to the financial center each day. The Prime Minister noted funds have been made available for a number of ongoing projects in Bagatelle, Font Saint-Jean, Stowe and Point Caribe. In other news, Jamaica's recent decriminalization of possession of up to 2 ounces of ganja is contributing to a dangerous practice that officials warn needs urgent attention. Describing findings in the 2016 National Drug Prevalence Survey show that 1 in 6 males and 17 females drive under the influence, with most admitting to using ganja since it has been decriminalized. Executive Director of the National Council on Drug Abuse, Michael Tucker, has raised a red flag about the data, which he said highlights the fact that people behind the wheel as well as non-drivers are in serious danger. And the man who won the Gambia's disputed election says he will be sworn in as president at the country's embassy in neighboring Senegal. Adama Barrow announced the ceremony in a message posted on Facebook. Last-ditch efforts by regional leaders to convince Yahya Jammeh to quit as president failed overnight, and they have warned they could remove him by force. Mr. Jammeh, aged 51, lost elections last month, but wants the results annulled, citing errors in the electoral process. And this concludes your Lunchtime News Update. I'm Linda Martin. Do join us again at 4 for the Prime Evening News Update. Good afternoon.
104. This is Talk on the Block. Good afternoon to you. News today that 3 Chinese nationals who pleaded guilty to theft have been sentenced to 3 years in prison for the offense. Time spent on remand will be deducted from the sentence. They were arrested in July 2016. The 3, Yolong Zai, Zhenju Wen, and Yang Zong were arrested and charged for the theft of ECE $104,705 between July 5th to 9th from an ATM which was the property of the National Bank of Dominica. I caught up with Carlisle John Baptist at the High Court. Let's listen.
The 3 Chinese nationals who were arrested last year, July 2016, charged with in excess of $104,000 belonging to the National Bank of Dominica, they have been sentenced to 3 years in jail. In fact, the maximum sentence is 10 years in jail. The lawyers for the 3 men did ask the court for a non-custodial sentence, but then the judge said that looking at the incident, she said that given the aggravating factors far outweighed the mitigating factors, they had no legitimate business in Dominica. They acted together in a group from China. They were caught red-handed with huge technological apparatus. They had among the other things, the effect it has on the banking institution, and of course, customers can lose confidence in the bank and withdraw funds. And this kind of incident does have international appeal. She categorized it as a Category A offense with a high level of culpability on all 3. She said the harm caused by the offense, the financial loss to the bank, and of course, if they were not caught, it would have spelled disaster for the financial institution. She called it the amount significant given the fact that Dominica is a small country. And so she says the aggravating factors far outweighed the mitigating factors, and they came to Dominica with the sole purpose of imposing that act. And she says in the circumstances, a custodial sentence is relevant. And she fixed the notional sentence at 6 years with a discount of 1/3. She placed imprisonment at 4 years. Now, because the money was fully recovered, she gave them a further discount of 1 year, making it 3 years in jail. And they will be deported at the end of the 3-year sentence in jail. Compensation of $5,652.87 to be paid forthwith to the National Bank of Dominica in default 6 months. Lawyer and Winlaw, they asked for some time, and so she granted 6 months for them to pay the $5,652.87 to the National Bank of Dominica. So they have 6 months to pay that amount of money. In default, they will take a further 6 months in jail. The money, $104,000+, will be returned to the National Bank of Dominica. They were also caught with $20,000 in their possession, that will be dealt with. The state did say that they will be opposing if that amount of money will be given back, would be given back to them, since lawyers for the 3 jailed Chinese nationals, they've asked for that money to be returned to them. So 3 years imprisonment, starting from the time they were incarcerated in July of 2016.
So time spent on remand will be deducted?
That is very correct. So that is why I said it will take effect from July 2016 when they were arrested.
What was the reaction? These 3 Chinese nationals, I know they speak through the interpreter there, who is Mr. Darrell Tit. Any reaction?
They have not spoken. They have not said a word. They have not said a word at all. Of course, they speaking through an interpreter. Everything that is said in court, Mr. Tit, who speaks the language fluently, interprets for them. But they have not said anything.
So 3 years at the Stockholm prison for 3 Chinese nationals.
That is very correct.
You know, many people thought, Carlisle, that these people would have been sent back to China.
Well, you have to look at the circumstances, and like the court said, the court looked at that and said it's a category A offense. And remember, some time ago, an incident like that, in fact, last year took place in Jamaica, and like the judge said, they clearly came to Dominica with.
That was Carlisle Jean-Baptiste there from the High Court speaking to yours truly there after the sentence of the 3 Chinese nationals who pleaded guilty to theft of over $104,000. I'm going to jump across to Castries, St. Lucia, and speak to Jesse there. We've been following the story, including the Minister of Finance, whose picture some time ago went viral. New picture went viral. Jesse, what's the latest on that story there?
Yes, well, the situation is this week, after the young lady was taken to court last week, Friday, and we had the climax of this whole Blackmail Friday, because Friday was the 13th, so you had a lot of people making memes and videos and extempos and poking fun at the whole situation. After the scandal with the pictures of the minister this week, we were all surprised to find that a picture of the young lady was released. And a lot of people are thinking that it is the minister who, out of revenge and out of spite, released that photo anonymously on the internet. So that is the latest coming from that court case. The young lady, Kashabi Alexander, she's 18 years old. She's a college student, so Arthur Lewis Community College. Of course, it is a blow to her reputation, her career, but if you would have watched the text messages which were put out there in the public domain, she also says that he has a lot to lose, and he also threatened her. And so we see the outcome of this latest image being released by an individual out of spite, perhaps.
How old is the minister?
The minister is believed to be in his 50s, late 50s, I believe. He served the SLP. He was a member of the St. Lucia Labour Party. Up to the 2011 election, he ran against the then Prime Minister, Stephenson King, in the constituency of Castries North. He was unsuccessful. Of course, Stephenson King has held on to that constituency for about 20 years now. So he was unsuccessful, and of course, a bit disgruntled with his post. His party won, but he lost his seat, and a bit disgruntled, I guess, with his post that was given to him by the Prime Minister, the then Prime Minister, Dr. Kenny Anthony. He left the island and served in government at the BVI, the British Virgin Islands. And there are reports coming out now that there may have been a similar scandal coming out of that country. However, he returned just in time. He left his job there and returned just in time for the general elections here, about a few months before June. And of course, the party that he joined, he didn't return to the St. Lucia Labour Party, he returned to the United Workers' Party. And of course, everyone knows the United Workers' Party was successful at last year's elections. And of course, thinking he's the only economist in that party right now. And a lot of people are suggesting and are coming up with thoughts from certain quarters that it may have been a political move, that this young lady was placed into this individual's life very strategically to find a way, to poke a hole in his life, to try to find some scandal, to have him removed from office, and thereby weakening the United Workers' Party administration, as he's the only economist within the cabinet at the moment.
Wow. So what is the Prime Minister saying at this point? Is it a split on that question of his removal as a senator in this government?
Well, on Monday, usually cabinet meets every Monday, and we were assured that this would have been a topic on the agenda for cabinet meeting on Monday. However, there was no word on any decision made, and a lot of us media personnel, we're left to think that perhaps the team, the cabinet, is split on that whole situation. We did speak to one minister, the National Security Minister, and he did say that he feels like individuals need to take responsibility for their actions. And this is going back to the statement that the minister, Senator Dr. Eubaldus Raymond, made in St. Lucia. That was Friday morning, stating that he was the victim of blackmail. And a lot of people are bringing up the issue of, the inescapable moral element in that whole situation of him actually initiating a relationship perhaps with that young lady. So that was what is coming from cabinet right now. We have received no word from cabinet on whether he has been asked to resign or whether he will be fired. The word we're getting from the Prime Minister is that they are waiting on the outcome of the court case, which is very strange because, a scandal in itself is already a smear on the administration. So you'd want to do anything, as soon as possible to deal with that because, as you know, scandals have political backlash.
Yes, repercussions for sure. But on the question, because you brought up the issue of the moral question being asked by St. Lucians at this time, is he married?
Yes, he is married, and we have been receiving images. Individuals have been taking screenshots of the wife's Facebook. I did see with my own two eyes. I cannot verify if it is the truth, but a statement that she reportedly made on her social media page, stating that we have a love connection, nothing can stop this connection. And you had, of course, a mix of responses, a mix of comments coming under her statement, under her post. One which stood out for me was that, are you crazy? Can't you see this thing happening right? In front of your eyes. Bringing up the whole thing about men being chauvinistic, men in power, not taking responsibility for their actions, and of course their family and their wives and their children are suffering for it. And you have this woman who, by this statement, that individual felt that the wife was being deluded. So there are a lot of thoughts going on. I don't want to go into that too much because it's deviating from what is fact and from what the objectivity of media, which is my job. But
wait.
going on in the public domain right now.
Do you expect, objectively, anything to come from this quote unquote scandal?
Well, it's kind of hard to say because just like the Trump administration and just like the things that Trump has said he would do, it's very unconventional. Our new Prime Minister, Alan Chastanet, and his cabinet, they've done a lot of unconventional things from the start, from June, since they assumed office. And so I wouldn't be surprised if there would not be the traditional call for resignation or firing of the minister, because there has not been a traditional approach to governance in St. Lucia. And by that I mean, the whole, traditional, if there is a scandal, this individual would have to be fired or resign. I would not be surprised if that did not happen, because he just, yesterday, he appeared at a training workshop to give the feature
address.
Address. So it's business as usual. Business as usual continues. And so perhaps the administration is waiting, hoping for everything to die down and to be forgotten, because really and truly he has been of great assistance to the administration in terms of finding a way to adjust our value-added tax. I mean, the whole country was crying, that was really doing a number on us. So, it was reduced from 15% to 12.5%, and he's been one of the leading figures in having that reduction done. And a host of other economic reforms which have been put forward to us by the IMF, etc., instead of us having to, be enveloped by them. He has come up with a lot of ideas. And so the UWP administration does not want to lose Dr. Eubaldus Raymond.
They're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea there.
Yes. A rock and a hard place, really. They don't want to lose him, but at the same time, the scandal calls for action to be taken, irrespective of him having been blackmailed or threatened for some of to give money in exchange for not releasing the photos. The inescapable moral element exists. Should this individual in such a position as he have allowed a young lady, a teenager, an impressionable teenager, some people are even saying that he probably took advantage of this young lady and did not compensate her fairly. So many other things are coming into play that you cannot escape. It remains in the thoughts and minds of St. Lucia.
Our politicians all across the Caribbean. Big questions. But thank you very much again, Jesse. Again, doing a great job as usual. We'll keep in touch.
Not a problem. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you. Big story there in St. Lucia. Minister of Finance exposing his genitals to an 18-year-old that has gone viral. The question in St. Lucia, should he resign? But it seems obvious that many of our Caribbean politicians are surviving sex scandals. Is that what we stand for in the Caribbean? This is Talk on the Block. One story at a time. Okay, let's take a few phone calls and we'll come back to a conversation I had earlier. A statement from Mr. Gabriel Christian, who seemed to be speaking out on the CBI program. Yeah, I have a latest statement from him. Hello, talk to me.
Hey, Matt, good afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, you said the question is, should he resign?
Mm-hmm.
Matt, we're not living in a real world. Matt, if any part of the world, imagine a minister of government, why is they naked on and viral? And you asking, should he? The man should have resigned since a couple of days ago. I mean, that's foolishness.
Well, some of his cabinet colleagues, I suspect, does not believe that. It appears that there is a split in cabinet in St. Lucia. Hello, talk to me.
On principle, good afternoon, your listeners. On principle, the minister should resign. Failing to resign, the prime minister should fire him. And if there is a split in the cabinet and they have to go back to the polls and they lost, they would have lost on principle. People will respect them for what they stand for. But I think the minister should resign. If he does not want to resign, the prime minister should fire him for free, because what he has done is to embarrass the people of St. Lucia and the government of St. Lucia.
Well, his picture has gone viral. He's naked all over the world. And that started, by exposing his genitals, if you will, to a young 18-year-old lady there. 124. Dominican issues, Caribbean issues. Let's listen to Gabriel Christian out of Washington.
And what I mean by that is, imagine that we are American citizens and the American president is appointing crooks and mobsters as ambassadors. Would that president be allowed to stand? Imagine if we're Canadian citizens and the Canadian Prime Minister is appointing crooks and mobsters as ambassadors and selling the country from beneath the people. Do you believe that Canadian Prime Minister would stand? Imagine if we're UK citizens, which we once were, and from whom we take our standards of probity in office. Well, in fact, having England represented by scoundrels, scallywags, thieves, mobsters. Would that Prime Minister in England be allowed to stand? No, we know that would not be the case, but yet in Dominica we have so been corrupted, our standards have been so corrupted, we've so lowered our standards that anything goes, and that's the destruction of the country I love. Roz, you know, I worked with Rosie. You know, I struggled for independence and advocated for independence. Mamo was on the other side. We had differences. But when she was Prime Minister, I did all that I could to help Dominica, and she became our good friend, and we did her biography. That's the kind of people we are. We're not about politics and party. We're Labour Party people. But we never let the fact that we're Labour Party people, when Patrick John was doing his nonsense, to tell Uncle Henkel, you have to go. You have to resign from the government. We love you, Uncle Henkel. We don't want your home to be attacked. We don't want you to be associated with bankrupt people who are destroying the country, as Patrick John was trying to do. So we've never put politics in front of country, right? And so I cannot go to. I was planning. Joan and I were planning to go to Carnival, interestingly, for the first time together. She's not going. I'm not going, and I cannot talk and think about Carnival because Dominica is a bloody shame right now. Dominica is going down, 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 Roz. Dominica is being destroyed, Roz. Roz, can you imagine if they have 5,000 Russians or Chinese and they are citizens? They're allowed to vote, Roz. They can vote. They can vote. They are citizens. They have the right to vote. In a 72,000 person country where only about 30,000 people can vote, you know what that means? It means we're finished. It means you no longer have a country. And that is why I will not go to Carnival, and I want not to do anything but to remove these guys from there because they've destroyed the country, they've sold out the country, and our country is going down. Lawlessness, rape, murder, all kinds of crimes because the fish rots from the head because of the head of the country being a lawless person involved in all kinds of calamitous, corrupt activities. A country is like a home, you know. If you have a strong parent and the parent is integrity-driven, disciplined, the children are going to follow in the path of the parent. But when you have a leadership that is so corrupt, so lawless, doing lawless things that we would not accept in the United States, doing lawless things that we would not accept in the United Kingdom, doing lawless things that we would not accept in Canada, all places where Dominicans live and send money back to Dominica to support Dominica, then we're hypocrites if we sit back and do nothing about our country. And anything that befalls Dominica in way of calamity would be well deserved because we've made ourselves out to be irresponsible people. Look at Nigeria. Look at Haiti, countries that are bigger than our country, countries that are wealthier than our country, but they are nowhere because their people have been irresponsible. Their leaderships have been irresponsible. And because of irresponsibility, their countries suffer, their people suffer. And I will never be happy to be alive and to walk around smiling when my country is being destroyed. And that's how I feel this morning. Thank you.
Gabriel Christian, Washington-based Dominican lawyer, on the attack there. And of course, I will be linking up with Gable in the next few minutes. There's some questions that surfaced this morning out of the other radio station about what they claim were requests from you, Gabriel. I want to ask you about that. 1:30, hello, talk to me.
Hey, Matt, afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Matt, I want to add a few to the concerns that Gable mentioned. He mentioned lawlessness, rape, murder. There is also suicide. There is also arson. There is just so many things happening, and people need to be concerned on the island. And you have Gabriel in Washington with that passion, and we have Dominicans sitting right here and sitting down and playing a blind eye. The few of us, like they say, it's a handful of us that does cause trouble, but at the same time, it's a handful of us that maybe want to see Dominica go in the right way, where it's supposed to go. Gable is one of them out of Dominica. Matt, people need to be concerned because you cannot be sitting down here and seeing a government. This government has divided this country, you know. That is the reality of all what Gable mentioned in there. This government has divided this country, and they are using the monies of the passport to do that very same thing. Because all this government doing is really all these passports selling, and they have the monies. They're using it to win the next election, and during that 5 years in between the elections, the people suffer, and then they come and run. Look at here in a thing about the Prime Minister is going to go in every community, so he wants to see less people coming at the Red Clinic. Bro, he started the Red Clinic. If you make people poor, that's what created the Red Clinic, because you make people poorer, they have to come and ask for something. They have to come and ask for things because they haven't got jobs. You need to create jobs, brother man. With all this money, you need to create jobs, factories. The factory that closed down at Mao, you need to reopen that, and you need to add a few more. People need jobs, brother man. Have a good day.
All right, have a good day. Let's take a phone call at 1:32. As I said, I will, of course, engage Mr. Christian in the next few minutes. Need to ask him some specific questions about concerns raised this morning about him on another radio station. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, Matt. Good afternoon to all the listeners.
Yes.
Matt, Gabriel Christian is a true patriot Dominican. I respect this man. Good afternoon, I'm listening.
Good afternoon, too. Hello, talk to me.
Matt, I'll say good afternoon to you and your listeners. Matt, let me tell you the trick in what Mr. Skerritt is doing. He's keeping the people poor. The people have to depend on him because it's a dependent syndrome in Dominica. The poor people know what he's doing that is wrong, but they cannot speak because if they open their mouth and say he's doing wrong things, they will not get assistance. Matt, where is the bishop? Is the bishop not hearing what is happening? Where is the churches, Matt? Where is the institutions? Where is the organizations, Matt? And when Dominicans will revolt, that is the time the bishop will want to come and talk about peace. Where is the bishop, Matt?
Thank you very much. 1:33 is the afternoon time. Again, let's listen to the conversation this morning with Gabriel Christian on this voice note.
And what I mean by that is, imagine that we are American citizens and the American president is appointing crooks and mobsters as ambassadors. Would that president be allowed to stand? Imagine if we're Canadian citizens and the Canadian prime minister is appointing crooks and mobsters as ambassadors and selling the country from beneath the people. Do you believe that Canadian prime minister would stand? Imagine if we're UK citizens, which we once were, and from whom we take our standards of probity in office. Well, in fact, having England represented by scoundrels, scallywags, thieves, mobsters. Would that prime minister in England be allowed to stand? No, we know that would not be the case, but yet in Dominica we have so been corrupted, our standards have been so corrupted, we've so lowered our standards that anything goes, and that's the destruction of the country I love. Rosie, I worked with Rosie. I struggled for independence and advocated for independence. Mamo was on the other side. We had differences. But when she was prime minister, I did all that I could to help Dominica, and she became our good friend, and we did her biography. That's the kind of people we are. We're not about politics and party. We're Labour Party people. But we never let the fact that we're Labour Party people, when Patrick John was doing his nonsense, to tell Uncle Henkel, you have to go. You have to resign from the government. We love you, Uncle Henkel. We don't want your home to be attacked. We don't want you to be associated with bankrupt people who are destroying the country, as Patrick John was trying to do. So we've never put politics in front of country, right? And so I cannot go to. I was planning. June and I were planning to go to Carnival, interestingly, for the first time together. She's not going. I'm not going, and I cannot talk and think about Carnival because Dominica is a bloody shame right now. Dominica is going down, Roz. Dominica is being destroyed, Roz. Roz, can you imagine if they have 5,000 Russians or Chinese and they are citizens? They're allowed to vote, Roz. They can vote. They can vote. They are citizens. They have the right to vote. In a 72,000 person country where only about 30,000 people can vote, you know what that means? It means we're finished. It means you no longer have a country. And that is why I will not go to Carnival, and I want not to do anything but to remove these guys from there because they've destroyed the country. They've sold out the country. And our country is going down. Lawlessness, rape, murder, all kinds of crimes because the fish rots from the head because of the head of the country being a lawless person involved in all kinds of calamitous, corrupt activities. A country is like a home, if you have a strong parent and the parent is integrity driven, disciplined, the children are going to follow in the path of the parent. But when you have a leadership that is so corrupt, so lawless, doing lawless things that we would not accept in the United States, doing lawless things that we would not accept in the United Kingdom, doing lawless things that we would not accept in Canada, all places where Dominicans live and send money back to Dominica to support Dominica, then we're hypocrites if we sit back and do nothing about our country. And anything that befalls Dominica in way of calamity would be well deserved because we've made ourselves out to be irresponsible people.
Thank you very much. That was Mr. Gabriel Christian, of course, with a voice note there sent to me this morning. In my opinion, somebody says here on a WhatsApp message, Mr. Christian has rang the bell. We have been called to action. The talking is not working. The bell has been rang. Time to hit the streets there, somebody says in a WhatsApp message. I'm joining at this time Mr. Christian live now from Washington. Mr. Christian, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, my brother. And let me just say this to all of Dominicans at home and abroad. I'm a soldier for my country. I'm prepared to die for my country now, today. Are you? That's where I stand. I know they would come after me, but I hope they're prepared to pay the ultimate sacrifice as I am now. And I send a challenge to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, I warn you, sir. You send your agents after me, they can kill me, burn my home, as they burned the home of Goni Manuel, kill my family, but the blood will be on your hands. Because right now as I stand, I will say to you that every single effort I have made has been to help the country and to help you as the Prime Minister. You know it. You could call me at any time, day and night. I've sat with you. I've introduced you to Prince Ermias Haile Selassie in Philadelphia, alongside Dr. Richard Stevens, not to pay you bribes, but to, in fact, allow someone who is the Prince of Africa to be a goodwill ambassador. I introduced him to Julius Timothy and Edison James. I introduced to Dominica people, if you can ask Rhoda Letar at Invest Dominica, if you can ask Colin Piper, if you can speak to Robbie Town, if you can speak to anybody who knows me, is I bring and have brought to Dominica time and time again people to invest in Dominica. And so today, because I have criticized you and I've asked you to hold a commission of inquiry in what is supposed to be a democratic country, to listen to the cry of the Dominican people, I have asked you, sir, to do that. You've sent your dogs after me and you've disclosed email. What are those emails saying? I will disclose all the emails, and they will show a human being of patriotic conscience who, despite having criticized government, has always tried to help the government and the people of Dominica by sending investment to Dominica. When Hurricane Tropical Storm Erica hit Dominica in 2015, where were you, sir? Where were you? You were in Macau with a bunch of criminals and crooks enjoying their favor, and they were all arrested. I called you. I reached out to you and I said, sir, the country is flooded. What do you want me to do? You said to me, call Ian Pinad. That's the kind of person that I am. That's the kind of family we were raised up in. We're responsible lovers of our country and of our homeland. And we rallied the Washington community. We rallied CBS News. We had Hubert Charles on CBS News. They didn't know Hubert Charles. I brought him there. I didn't say this is Skerritt's ambassador. I said this is Dominica's ambassador, and he has to be involved. And we brought him into the studio, and we got people to donate money, and we rallied Dominicans. That's the kind of people we are. And while we're trying to build Dominica, while we put our home in Dominica, you sat with me and my family at lunch at Zabrico Heights of Amaho with your 8 bodyguards, where I sat with you to try to help Dominica. You now turn on us and say we asked for passports. Which passports did we ask for? All we simply try to do, even while criticizing, which is our right in a democracy. Our right in a democracy is to criticize the government that rules us. You're not an idol. You're not a god. You are a human being. You have flaws. I have flaws. I accept criticism from my wife, from my friends, from you. I'm not a perfect person. Sometimes people say I'm a little too hot. But I cannot see my country fall. I cannot see my country come under sanctions. We will be sanctioned. And Matt Peltier, where did I meet you, Matt Peltier? Where did I meet you?
Repeat the question?
Yes, I'm asking you, where did I meet you, sir?
Oh, you met me with Rosie Douglas in Washington or someplace.
No, sir. No, sir. You met me with Rosie Douglas, but where were we? Or where were we going?
Somewhere trying to get a deal with some university. I can't recall at this time.
Matt, you're a smart man. You met me sir, in New Orleans.
New Orleans, that's it, yes.
Going to where? The University of New Orleans. What are we trying to do, Matt? Can you tell the listeners what we're trying to do? You and Carlisle John Baptist and Irvin Augustine, is that his name? Irvin Augustine, I believe?
Yes. Trying to work on some arrangement with the New Orleans University and Dominica. I remember that.
To put a campus in Dominica at similar to Ross University, so we could train Dominicans in hotel and tourism management, focus on ecotourism. You remember that, Matt?
Yes, I remember that.
Ecotourism. And the idea would be that our young boys and girls would have jobs to do. We would become the centerpiece in the Caribbean and the world for ecotourism, so people could come from all over the world to Dominica to do ecotourism. And when Rosie Douglas was hounded to his death, that program died with him. And Pierre Charles later hounded to his death by those whom we know now hold office. And the reality is, there's something called karma. Do Dominicans understand what karma is? The karmic force that exists in nature, that when you do right, right follows you. And when you do wrong, no matter where you may rise to high heights, you will soon fall down. And that's why we're appealing to the Prime Minister, not out of hate and anger, but because of what he has done with his legacy. What, sir, shall be your legacy? Selling passports? Appointing crooks and criminals? Or shall it be a legacy of uniting Dominicans for beneficial endeavor? So, Matt, you and Carlisle and Augustine met me in New Orleans as a younger man, trying to promote education, scholarships, so our people could be the prize of the Caribbean. Nature Island is hollow, where we are not doing that which is natural under God's law, which is to be honest to each other. We were doing that so we could have a country where we would have eco-lodges and eco-centered touristic enterprises that would build our economy. We're not trying to sell passports. We're trying to build the country. And when we brought people to Dominica, we met with the Prime Minister as recently as 2013, after I had criticized, to change the program into an industrial and economic development program, just like in the United States, where you've got to invest $500,000, you get a green card, you've got to employ 10 people, and after 3 years, if everything works, you're eligible. Listen to me now. You're eligible for citizenship. It's not automatic. And the reason the U.S. government does that is they want to see that the project that you have invested in comes to fruition. So we then have economic development. Right up to my house is a mall built by a Chinese investor, employing people with a drugstore, a supermarket, restaurants, and the like, so that people are employed right there in my neighborhood. Why can't we have that? They've been doing this now for how many years? How many malls? How many factories? Now all of a sudden, because the scrutiny is on them, they're quickly now trying to build and do this and do that because we've criticized, and the time is up. The time is up.
So you're not intimidated by the attacks, and it seems I heard on one radio station this morning they were attacking you for almost an hour there.
Oh, they can bring it on. Burn my house, that's what they do. Destroy, like they destroy in Dominica. What happened to Rosie Douglas? Broken-hearted, dead. What happened to Pierre Charles? Broken-hearted, dead. And that's what's happening to the Labour Party government now. It's breaking the country because it's built on iniquity, it's built on a lie, it's using passport money to bribe people, it's using passport money to import voters, it's using the passport system to try to give the franchise to their foreign passport holders so they can come back in and perpetuate a dictatorship on Dominica that will never leave office. That is not what I want for our country. We have to stand for our country. We have to stand for democracy, and we need to understand that Dr. Martin Luther, and I'm calling for non-violent protests. They're the ones who are the violent ones. They're the ones who are encouraging violence in the country. We're asking for non-violent protests overseas and in Dominica. We're calling to all Dominicans to be in the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King. Sir, give us the commission of inquiry. If you're saying you're perfect, then you have nothing to be afraid of. Give us the commission of inquiry. Within 15 days, we're making a demand. It's within 15 days. You don't work with the loyal opposition and do a commission of inquiry, then we'll ask all Dominicans at home and abroad to rally against your corrupt regime and to make a change for the better for our country.
Thank you very much, Gabriel Christian there. Wow. Very powerful there, coming from Gabriel, calling for protest action, peaceful protest action. If, of course, the commission of inquiry that has been called for is not given by the government of Dominica. If you're clean, he says, well, come, show that you're clean. Talk to me.
With this Christian boy, is it a case of sour grapes?
Is it a case of, well, he's not on the telephone, you would have to ask him that. But according to what he's saying, it's not a case of sour grapes. He has, of course, criticized them before and come back and try to help. I can't answer that question for you, ma'am. I'm not Gabriel Christian. Hello.
Mark.
Yes.
Gabriel Christian is a hypocrite and a disgruntled citizen of Dominica.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that?
Why didn't you ask him that the 5 stuff that he asked from the Prime Minister for the different diplomats and the water project? You skip it. You didn't ask him.
But that was the first question I asked. I did tell him that he was under attack this morning before we get on the phone, and of course they spoke about and of course reiterated in the program that he asked for passports for these people who he thought he knows are genuine people. That's all he was saying. But I don't know whether he was given these passports. I can call back and ask him these questions for you if you want. There's nothing to hide, my brother. Nothing to hide. All right?
Matt, let me tell you.
Ask me.
He trying to figure. Look at that. He talking about America, and that cannot happen in America. Didn't you forget about President Clinton, who was having an affair with Monica?
Well, we never had that discussion about Lewinsky, my brother. We did not have that kind of discussion. We're talking about passports. Let me ask you: don't you think his call for a commission of inquiry is a legitimate one?
Well, that's crap.
You see what I mean? Talk to me. Talk to me. Let's take another phone call. 148. Hello.
Good afternoon, Matt. How you doing?
How you doing?
Man, I'm really concerned about this country, man. And I certainly share that view with Dr. Christian, man. And it hurts, man, to see and hear what's going on in Dominica. I love my carnival. I love my independence. I love my Tompile and what have you. But, Matt, with Dominica being in the hands of these kleptocrats, these mercenaries, these plunderers, I cannot see myself coming back home to sit with these guys, man. It hurts me. And one may say, hey, to hell with you whether you do come back. But remember the contribution the diaspora makes, man. When we come back home, this country is like Wall Street, We contribute enormously, man. So what we are saying is we are fed up with what's going on in this country. We need a clean slate. We need people who are responsible. We don't need thieves. We don't need plunderers. We don't need kleptocrats. We're tired with these guys. We want our country back. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you very much. And Gabriel Christian, I don't have the time, but I will call you to engage you again on some of the questions that have surfaced since you put the phone down and since we disconnected. So the question is, and you can think about it, whether, you coming out at this time is a question of sour grapes, That's one question that was asked. Whether you were issued or government gave the passports that you asked for when you wrote these letters. Two questions to you. You can already think about them, and we will connect with you tomorrow. Hello, talk to me.
Matt, I believe Gabriel with all what he say, and I stand with Gabriel Christian. The person that's talking about sour grapes, that's how the labor rights behave. They don't educate themselves. But every wrong thing Mr. Scary do, they have to please him, and they're damaging the country.
He asked a very genuine question. Can we have a commission of inquiry so everything can come to the table? Prime Minister, if you're listening, I know you are. Of course, many people have called you and said, listen to what's going on the radio. I know that always happens. All government officials listen to Talk on the Block and the Hot Seat in the morning. That's not, even in question. 150. So please, can you answer the question as it relates to the commission of inquiry? Can we have a commission of inquiry according to Gabriel Christian so we can bring everything to the table? All questions can be answered by an independent investigator. Hello, talk to me.
Hi, good afternoon, Matt.
Yes.
Even if Gabriel asks for 2 passports or how many passports, he's the right person to get it. Because he's a Dominican and a faithful one to Dominica. So people need to know what questions they want to ask when they want to give the criminals and the crooks the passports they're making all their money for.
And of course, Mr. Gabriel, I also want you to provide the names of the persons that you were pursuing in terms of trying to get these passports so we can all do our Googles and it can be up there on the table. So there's nothing to hide. Mr. Gabriel Christian, if you have the names and the letters of the requests that you've made to government about passports, please let us have it. Let it be a transparent process. Everybody can know. Hello, 151, talk to me.
Hello, good afternoon, Matt.
Yes, quickly.
Yeah, what I find strange is people just asking for commission of inquiry. Please, I'm hoping it's going to be an independent one and not one selected by the labor crazy.
All right, thank you very much. So you made that point there. 152, time is of the essence. Hello, talk to me.
Matt, Tony Asofan will be the chairman. But Matt, I understand that Mr. Roosevelt Skerrit gets a transcript of Q95s, whatever goes down on Q95.
Well, there's nothing to hide there. I mean, you can record.
I'm just saying, I understand he gets a transcript, so he's listening.
Well, we know that the Prime Minister's listening. And nothing wrong with that. It's a democracy. You can record and, transcribe. It's all for the good. Hello, talk to me.
Hello, good afternoon, Matt.
Yes.
Matt, the most corrupt political organization in government, the Dominican Labour Party, need to satisfy the Dominican people that everything is well by supporting the call for the Commission of Inquiry and go ahead with it. Because we believe that the biggest threat to the national security of Dominica is for Corallo and Alison Majiki and those Russian mafia to have our passport. The word on the street in Moscow today is that the Russian mob is no longer interested in the Dominican passport because it's attracting too much international attention. It has attracted the attention of the Americanos. They are very concerned about our passport, the Dominican diplomatic passport, being given to crooks and criminals, fellas with millions of dollars at their disposal. They're not interested in bringing in guns by barrel if the need comes. It's container of guns they can bring in to destabilize not only Dominica but the whole of the Eastern Caribbean. And these guys sit down there talking nonsense about some barrels that came in with 1 or 2 guns, Matt. We need a commission of inquiry to settle the matter, Matt. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The telephone calls are just coming in there. Wow. Very hot in the afternoon there. 154, hello.
It's a long time.
It is. It has been a long time.
Matt, what I want to ask, you asked Gabriel Christian to present the names of those he requested the passport for.
Uh-huh.
But we must take into consideration the opposition leader asked the government for those that are holding
Yes.
Dominica's diplomacy. They have Dominican diplomatic passport, and they refuse to give it to us. Let's put that into context. I hope you'll ask the Prime Minister to present them now. Okay?
I think he has been asked that question. I think they've asked the foreign minister that question. I'll try to get to that before tomorrow. So it's out there. They've asked for the names, and these names have not been presented.
Definitely. So don't press with Gabriel Christian.
No, I want Gabriel Christian to be very transparent about it. There's nothing to hide. As he said, there's nothing to hide. So let's have it. Let's have all the names. Hello, talk to me. Remember, these people were not granted passports. I suspect Gabriel may have asked on their behalf through letters to the Prime Minister, which I was told was read on Kyrie FM this morning. Hello, talk to me.
Yes, Matt, good afternoon. Good afternoon to your listeners.
Uh-huh.
You know, Matt, Gabo and I have always had discussions. I've been very, tight with Gabo. We chat a lot.
Right.
I can tell you that. But I concur with Gabo very strongly, and I welcome his outspokenness and his passion. But Matt, some time ago there was an estimate that Dominica had made over $1 billion in passport money. If you configure, Matt, that 279 Scary talked about, 35 at one time, 75 at another time, that's a total of roughly over 400 million. Matt, my sources, credible sources, tells me that if the Prime Minister has over $500 million in accounts abroad, and that coincides with the difference between the 400 and something million that is reported and the 500 million unreported of the 1 point something million dollars rough estimate that we did in the amount of money. So tell Mr. Skerritt, if he wants to bring back those $500 million now, tell us where it is, tell us which bank it is. And the same way they are calling on the members in St. Kitts to return that money. We will not be asking him to return. We will be sending him to the Hague to be prosecuted as an international criminal, since the criminal enterprise that he heads, and all of them will go there too.
Thank you very much. Of course, you said their estimates. I'm hoping you can get the necessary evidence and we can present it. 1:57 is the afternoon time. All my telephone lines are going crazy. We're coming back.
Are you ready for Mass 2017? Where will the beat lead you for Carnival 2017? Buyo, Kaiso, Kada, Soka. Register with Hysteria Mass today at 21 Hanover Street.
Have to get in because this red not missing me. It's not missing me. Good news, good news.
Come fete with us and the Triple K International, powered by GX Songs and Lights. Hysteria Mass, your ultimate carnival experience. For Mass Dominic, you better register with them today. Sponsored by Flow.
Ready for the Caribbean's most original carnival, Dominica's Carnival, Mass Dominic 2017, February 4th to the 28th. Revel in the splendor of a masquerade band. Experience the parade, the non-stop fets, Dominica nights, Dominiki do, Mass Dominic, the real mass. Come, revel with us. Visit us online at dominicafestivals.com or call us at 767-255-8221.
Somebody says Mad Dominica is on the brink of civil unrest. Can the Prime Minister lay his egos down and eat humble pie so Dominicans can't even speak on issues on the island? Papa God. 1:48, we're taking our final phone call and wrapping it up in the afternoon. We'll continue tomorrow. This is a very dicey situation there. Let's take this ad and we'll call it a day today.
Have you heard the good news? Go tell your friends in Europe and Martinique that they can now come to Dominica via ART flight from Martinique on Saturdays and Mondays. Attention to nos affaires, musiciens ou vendeurs vacanciers. Zone pile option présent au pays français et Europe pour la Dominique. ART also facilitates seamless connections to and from Europe via Paris on Air France. Take advantage of ART's low fares from Dominica to Martinique or Martinique to Dominica, starting at only 59 euros one way or 109 euros return, tax inclusive. These low fares do not include carrier luggage and is non-refundable.
Ready for the Caribbean's most original carnival, Dominica's Carnival, Mass Dominic 2017, February 4th to the 28th. Revel in the splendor of a masquerade band. Experience the parade.